Hi, my name is Brad Young, and welcome to the Peak Performance Podcast. Today we have episode 19. We're going to be looking at the top health and fitness trends in 2025. So we're going to take a look at the different categories, products, and see how it can help us, how we can practically apply and utilize some of this information. Because when we look at it at the big picture, there's been a lot of trends over the years, and so we have to decide what's good and what's bad, what's actually going to help us. And so I'm going to utilize all these products. I'm going to go through and utilize it. I'm going to update in the next round of podcast. I'm going to update. We're going to film and go through and show how utilize these things to help improve my performance. And so the categories, we got wearable technology, you got personalized nutrition, you got virtual and augmented reality workouts, which is going to be quite interesting. You got your at-home fitness, which I don't mean like a at-home gym. I mean the higher tech stuff like your Peloton and the mirror and things like that. We're going to look at biohacking, which Brian Johnson. We're going to look at his blueprint to reverse aging because it's phenomenal what Brian Johnson does. We're going to look at mindfulness and mental fitness. We're going to look at functional fitness programs. We're going to look at intermittent fasting, recovery technologies, and hydration optimization. And so when we start looking at the top health and fitness trends in 2025, wearable technology, you've got smart watches, fitness trackers, heart rate monitors. We got smart clothing and smart glasses. And so these are all quite interesting because, most of you are probably going to utilize at least one of these, if not more than one. And so when we step back and look at it, smartwatches, almost everybody has a smartwatch now, like your Apple Watch, Samsung Galaxy, your Garmin's, all these, smartwatches that track, health metrics, your heart rate, your sleep patterns, your activity levels. That some offer, different capabilities, like my smartwatch, has a built-in phone, and so I can just wear the watch and use as a phone. And so it's a lot of help. I've had it set up this way for years. So when I'm on a long run and I'm out in the middle of nowhere and nobody around to help, I can at least call somebody from my watch. But they're all customizable. They're they have interchangeable bands and things like that. I mean, they are quite expensive, and they require frequent charging. So when we look at the wearables, there's a lot of charging involved. I just bought a new phone recently, and the battery on it's phenomenal. And so I'm going to have to get a newer updated smartwatch to see if the batteries have improved that much on the smartwatches, because I have to recharge my smartwatch quite frequently. And even when I use it on a really long run, in a lot of cases, it ends up running out of juice before I get back. And so that could be dangerous as well. So, I try to use it as a extra line of communication if anything happens, and I don't bring my phone, but, I've got to look at that as well on the charging side of it. But we can all take a look at it. But you're looking from anywhere from $200 to $600 for these trackers. And we, like I said, plenty of people use the smartwatches, the fitness trackers like your Fitbit, your Garmin. They're lightweight and comfortable. They focus on your essential fitness and health metrics, like your steps, your calories burned, and your sleep quality, which, we need to be measuring all these things, especially that sleep quality, because it's something that, it's vital. It's vital to everyone to get enough sleep, and the majority of people don't get enough sleep. And the good thing of it is they do have a longer battery life compared to smartwatches. Some of them last 5 to 14 days with the fitness trackers, and so that's a big benefit. When there's a Whoop out that's phenomenal. I mean, it tracks anything and everything. But now some of the cons of your fitness trackers are going to be your smaller screens with the limited functionality beyond just the simple tracking, and they're not versatile for non-fitness related activities. Like with my watch, sometimes if I go do, labor outside, I'll put it on high intensity and I'll see how many calories that I burn during that period when I go do some work outside. And, it's amazing how many calories you burn, though. I mean, I was burning quite a few calories. The yard person wasn't making it because of the schedule last year, some, and so I pushed. I got a very large yard, so I ended up pushing it some of the time to do it. To do it just so because I couldn't let it continue to grow, and he was trying to get over here. But I did that, and I tracked it, and I burned a significant amount of calories. I mean, not as much as doing a high intensity workout where you're lifting, but it was quite a bit. I mean, it was almost comparable to a run, and the calories burned, and heart rate, et cetera. Pushing that heavy mower. So when we, so you can use them for a lot of different, in a lot of different ways. You have heart rate monitors, which you've got like the Polar H10, Wahoo Ticker, Rhythm 24, and they're extremely accurate for heart rate training. When you're tracking, if you're doing heart rate training, these heart rate monitors are going to be more for ideal for athletes and serious fitness people. I mean, they're going to, because they're going to really track your heart rate to where I feel that my smartwatch is not accurate on the heart rate. And I know it's not accurate on the VO2 max. I mean, I can run for hours and it seems like it shows it getting worse every time instead of getting better. I know that's not the case. And so I know that there's something not right with it. So, these are going to be, they're going to be around $60 to $150. I mean, but they are limited to heart rate tracking. So that is, there's some, limited functions of them. It's limited, but, you can use chest straps and they are extremely accurate, but they are uncomfortable for the long term. So, I mean, heart rate monitors, they've been around for a while, but they're getting better. And so that's why I put them in the list here. I mean, they're $60 to $150. And then we get into some real interesting things here. Now we get into smart clothing. Now we look at smart clothing, Under Armour, UA Rush, Nadi, Smart Yoga Pants, Hetero Skin. You've got different smart clothing, and they integrate biometric tracking into everyday activities or workout clothing. They offer targeted feedback for posture, activity, and performance improvement. Cons on them. They're expensive and they're less durable, obviously, than traditional workout clothing. Limited washing instructions may affect the utility over time. So, I mean, there are some downsides. Smart clothing's not been around a real long time, and so I'm sure it's getting better and better. And they're less widespread and compatible with fitness platforms. And so you're looking anywhere from $150 to $500. But it's very interesting for, where we're headed to have smart clothing, especially for posture and other things like that, because with people sitting at desks so much, I mean, it's easy to have a bad posture sitting at that desk and not realize it. But you've got something that's reminding you constantly to pull your shoulders back, pull your neck back, you have less trouble. And so there's a lot of other benefits to the smart clothing, but we're going to move on to the smart glasses. Ray-Ban, Bose, they both have smart glasses. And so they provide hands-free notifications, and they do augmented reality experiences. They're lightweight and they blended, advanced tech with everyday eyewear. They're suitable for low impact activities like walking or cycling. I mean, they have limited fitness tracking capabilities compared to other options. They have a shorter battery life and potential privacy concerns that, we're definitely not going to go into today, but there are some. And there's a steep learning curve for some users. They're around $200 to $800. But, they are, like I said, they're getting much better. I've looked at some myself, and I really like them. It's something I'm definitely going to try. So all these things that, the things that I don't have here are the smart clothing and the smart glasses. And so I've got to get those, and I'm going to get a better heart rate monitor as well. And then I'll go through and I'll track it, and I'll see how effective they are for me. I mean, everybody's going to have different results, but I mean, I like to just be a guinea pig on this stuff. And so another fitness trend it's getting bigger and better is personalized nutrition. meal plans based on a DNA analysis and your metabolic rate. You know, there's definitely more and more companies out there that offer, personalized nutrition options. DNA Fit, it provides personalized meal plans tailored to your genetic profile, which is great. I mean, that too many people don't understand how important that is. It's like when they were doing my blood work and told me that I was borderline for Hashimoto's. I had to pay attention to gluten and other things like that were related to the Hashimoto's. And so when, I got that testing done, it give me let me know what I need to avoid. What we talked about the symptoms and all the stuff that went with it, and it cleared a lot of things up. My face was less puffy when I cut out a lot of those things. So if you look at, doing the DNA meal plans, I think it's a very, very good option, something to look at. And it also offers insights to food sensitivities, vitamin needs, and optimal macro balance. And it incorporates fitness advice aligned with your metabolism because, our metabolisms are different. So this gets you where you can understand yourself better. And that's what peak performance is all about, is understanding yourself better and getting better. I mean, the cons are obviously it can be expensive for the initial testing. The results may feel overwhelming or somebody that's unfamiliar with, dietary planning. And, there are limited updates unless additional tests are purchased. So, I mean, it's not going to be cheap, but I mean, I know it'll be worth it. So I'm going to do this and give it a shot to see how close I am on my nutrition, what I need to do, what I need to improve. And that's what we can all do. And all this is going to be available in a link that's in the podcast. There'll be a sheet where all this information will be available, and you'll be able to find some of these things and, take a closer look. Got number 2 there is going to be Nutrigenomics. I think I said that right. Nutrigenomics. And that's going to be another scientifically backed meal plan that focuses on your DNA and your metabolic rate. You get detailed reports on how your body processes nutrients and responds to food, which is going to be priceless. I mean, with all the food allergies and all the other issues that people have, I mean, food addiction, things like that, you're going to be able to do. We're going to talk about food addiction in upcoming podcasts, but, I mean, it's accessible for individuals and healthcare professionals. I mean, it does require consultation to fully interpret the results. It's not suitable for somebody that's just looking for quick recommendations. I mean, there is limited app integration for tracking progress. And I mean, you're looking at $300 to $600 for that. And if I didn't say earlier, for the DNA Fit, it's $190 to $400. So these are not expensive, but they're not inexpensive either. And then you've got another one. It's My DNA Health. And again, it's going to combine DNA testing and metabolic rate analysis for highly specific dietary advice. I mean, they're going to offer holistic health recommendations, including stress and sleep management. Cons are your subscription fees. I mean, they may increase over time. I mean, the customization level may vary depending on the data that was analyzed. You're looking about the same price range, $150 to $500. So next, we're going to look at virtual and augmented reality workouts. And, examples would be Beat Saber, HoloFit, and VZ Fit. And again, all these are going to be in the document that's attached to the podcast. So you'll be able to see these a little bit more closely. And so we look at these, it's immersive and engaging workout experience that make fitness fun and enjoyable. I mean, it's going to be odd at first, obviously. I mean, you have a variety of games and activities that, cater to different fitness levels. And it encourages consistent exercise by combining gaming and physical activity, which is great because, especially with our newer generation, our younger generation, that are so into gaming, if you combine gaming and physical activity, it's going to hopefully help it, change the pattern of our mortality rates going in the wrong direction. We're people are living shorter lives now than we did, 10, 15 years ago, and it's going down. So we need to figure out a way to make it go back up where people are living longer again. The kinds that requires a VR or AR equipment, which it can be, it can be expensive. It just depends on what you're using. I mean, it may not offer the same intensity as traditional workout programs. Of course not. I mean, you know, I'll go work out at a gym or one of my places here, and very intense. And so to be able to recreate that would be difficult, especially with the weights and everything else. But the pricing, you're looking at $20 to $30 a month subscription plus your initial three to $600 for the VR AR headset. So it's not bad. I mean, when you're looking at another one, it's at home fitness equipment. You know, it's high tech gym equipment like Peloton bikes, the mirror, and other ones that offer the interactive workout sessions. And I wanted to try some of these, see how they are. I mean, the Peloton, I mean, I have tried. I mean, but the mirror and some of these others, I mean, gonna be interesting because the Peloton, is stationary with a live on demand fitness classes, which makes you feel like you're part of something, even though you're at your house. That's one thing that they do that makes people feel that would make people feel more like they're at the gym, because it's you do work out harder. I do work out a little bit harder at the gym sometimes than I do at my own home gyms, and I've got tons of equipment. I'm adding more stuff all the time, and so I'd love to try some of these others because we've got the mirror. It's a wall mounted device that offers virtual interactive workout classes. You've got Tonio, which is a smart strength system that's got a adjustable digital resistance and guided workout. So it's going to make your form better. It's going to make you have to do the right tempo and all that type of stuff. But it could be interesting, seeing how the intensity level works out and all that. So I want to, if I don't buy one, I'm gonna find somewhere where I can use one, and we'll make a video. We'll take a look at it, and see how it feels, how it feels on your muscles, how how it feels just to do you feel alone, how is it? Because some people, they like to work out in a completely empty house or empty gym and stuff, and I work out 90+% by myself. But I like to be around other people when I'm working out sometimes. At least you have somebody around when you're doing it. So I don't know how that'll be, but that could be interesting though with that smart strength training system. And there's other ones that I see, for sale all the time now, and they're a little bit pricey, but at the same time, I mean, if you're going to use them and on the long term, I mean, it could be really good. Then we got the Tempo Studio, which is a home gym system with built-in AI to track form and progress. And so that'll be really interesting. So I'm going to look at some of this at-home fitness system. And I mean, obviously you got the convenience of working out at your house with minimum space required, which, people with large families, I mean, that could be a fantastic thing. I mean, because if you have limited space, if you could be able to work it, because like me, I mean, I've got a garage full of racks and dumbbells and everything else, and I got a bike in one room. I've got a treadmill in another one. I've got a leverage system coming to go into a bonus room here. I mean, I've got stuff everywhere, and if I had a large family, I wouldn't have room for all that. I'd have to figure something else out. But another thing is you got access to live and on demand classes. They're guided by professional trainers. You got the integration of advanced tracking features for performance and progress, and a wide variety of workout types. So these could all be very interesting. I mean, the cons are obviously the upfront costs, the subscription fees, and the dependability on the reliable internet. And that's something that it's funny on the internet side of it. When I downgraded from the business speed, I got better service. Too funny. I don't know how that happened, but as soon as I downgraded, my service got a lot better. But your pricing, I mean, you're looking at $1,500 for your Peloton bike or more, plus your subscription. The mirror, $1,500 plus a subscription. Tonio, $35. Tempo Studio, $2,500 with a subscription. And so don't quote me on these because they change prices all the time. But this is just from what I've seen when I was doing this research. And so Next, we're going to look at biohacking. And that's going to be really interesting because Brian Johnson has a blueprint and it is unbelievably interesting. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, and the key aspects of his blueprint, and what you just need to go on his website because he sells food. He gives you a free PDF. He tells you everything he's doing. But what he does is he has a strict diet and he has very specific nutrition. He has nutrient dense plant based meals in precise portions. I mean, he does everything right. You just watch videos and understand it. He has advanced biometrics, you know, regular biometric tracking to measure markers such as his sleep quality, his heart rate variability, and metabolic efficiency. He has a very strict regimen of exercise. He exercises every morning. If you watch his videos, it's very interesting, all the things he does. And he does normal things like, resistance training, cardio, and flexibility exercises tailored to his needs. And so that's something that we all have to work on, is that flexibility. You're not getting old, you just don't stretch. And I had to make a real habit of it, of stretching to increase my performance. And it's night and day. If I miss a good stretch before I go run, it's a night and day difference on how I perform. And so I've had to really get into that. And the same thing, with stretching, light stretching before I lift weights, and then, really good stretching afterwards has helped and made a gigantic difference for me. And so that stretching routine really makes a difference. But, his technology integration, he uses a ton of health gadgets, such as continuous glucose monitoring, sleep trackers. He uses Whoop and all these other things. If you look on his website, there's all kinds of products. And I mean, it is quite interesting. Supplementation. He has a very highly prioritized regimen of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. And, it's like 50 something things that he takes a day, but it's right specific for him. I mean, he spends $2 million a year on this, but he offers the information for free up of what it is, the things are. And there's also, links in there to be able to buy the food and things like that you can get less expensively or around the same price, depending on your region. And so, why not just buy it from him and get that, because of all the dark chocolate and all the specific things that he has. But he definitely has sleep optimization. He has a list of everything as far as bed, sheets, dark environments, all that stuff. And so, the pros of the blueprint are, it's a highly personalized strategy. So some of the things we've talked about already, with the DNA and metabolic tracking, I mean, all these things are gonna, they're gonna be relevant when you're looking at the blueprint. He utilizes cutting edge technology, incorporates a holistic approach to diet, exercise, sleep, and supplementation, and promotes long-term health benefits if you follow it diligently. He uses a lot of red light therapy and just all kinds of things. You just have to go read. I can't tell you everything on here. It'd turn into a 1-hour podcast. Cons of the blueprint. I mean, it's rigid. It's not practical for everyone. I mean, there's high cost associated with the biometric devices, supplements, and the food. But like I said, he offers opportunities to be able to do it at a less expensive price to where he is, sourced all these things. And so it definitely requires a significant amount of time and commitment. And it's limited, social flexibility to strict adherence to the diet and schedule. I mean, your biometric devices like the Oura Ring are 300 plus, and I have one. Continuous glucose monitor is around $100 a month, and there's all kinds of new gadgets that come out every day to help, check these things. The food, I mean, you're looking at $500 to $1,000 a month, which is not bad. I mean, it's not that expensive considering what we spend spend every month anyway. Your supplementation's $100 to $300 a month. I mean, when you look at consultations from the nutritionist or biohackers, it could be $500 a month. And, all kinds of miscellaneous technology. I mean, it could run into a lot of money, but not $2 million a year for you. But I mean, you can do a varied approach and follow what he has on his website. And I think it make a difference. But this is definitely, the biohacking side is really interesting, and there's a lot of positive things to learn from that. So we got next trends is mindfulness and mental fitness. And so you've got some nice gadgets here. You've got a neutral feedback headset, and it offers personal insights into your brain activity, enhancing focus and relaxation. I mean, the bad thing of it is it may require consistent focus to see noticeable results. It's $500 to $1,500. You've got AI powered meditation assistants. I mean, they provide adaptive real time guidance tailored to increase stress levels and mental states. So they're going to look and provide real time guidance that look at your stress levels and your mental states, which is great. I mean, that's something that, sometimes we're more stressed out than we realize. The bad, I mean, there's potential privacy concerns because of data collection. Subscription costs anywhere from $15 to $50 a month. You've got VR mindfulness programs that are going to, run around $50 to $200 for the programs. And you just need, again, this is another thing with the VR equipment. Smart journal apps, they track your moods and prompts. Reflective exercises, they foster emotional growth. But, the bad thing is it relies on your commitment for more meaningful outcomes. I mean, $5 to $10 a month, which, I mean, it's well worth it, to be able to go in and journal and write everything down and understand yourself better. I mean, that's what these things are about. That's a good trend. Functional fitness, programs like CrossFit, F45, and other things that mimic real life movements. Functional fitness is a growing trend, especially this year in 2025. And so I've seen a lot of different programs come out, and there's a lot of functional fitness things. And I do a lot of functional fitness. I do tons of functional fitness activities that are going to help me, as far as being able to utilize them, because some things we do, it's not functional. It's not something that we're going to need every day. I mean, there's not a real reason to need to be able to bench press 500 pounds. Not really. There's not really any cases it does. But when you look at functional moves and things like that, it can really make a difference. But it's a huge pattern. Another one is intermittent fasting. It's been a trend, and it's continued to go up. It seems like more people are using intermittent fasting because it helps with weight loss. It helps your insulin sensitivity, which, when we go into another podcast that I'm going to do, I mean, about sugar addiction, that's going to be very important. I mean, it's very important. I mean, because, you are very addicted to sugar and you don't even realize it. You're addicted to food, things that are in the processed foods and things like that. You don't realize it. So when you look at intermittent fasting, it can help with that. It can enhance insulin sensitivity and reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. It can help with your heart, cellular repair, brain health, and then inflammation reduction. I'm going to try a long intermittent fasting. It's, there's a 7-2 hour you can do. I mean, the 16-8 is tough enough a lot of days because of a level of activity. But once you get accustomed to it, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, you just got to pay attention to when you're training, when you're eating, when you're busiest, all that type of stuff. But it's very, very good. And then the last two things, we're going to go into hydration optimization, and then we're going to look at recovery technologies. So you got your cryotherapy chambers, which, I mean, the cost is, up to $50,000. I mean, which, obviously you just want to go to a local place to try it. But it can, it reduces muscle soreness, quicker recovery, and decreases inflammation. So, I mean, they can really help when you're doing a lot of hard training. I mean, it could be well worth it. You just have to look at the cost locally. Infrared saunas, I mean, they're great. I've got one, and, they do definitely, they enhance blood circulation. They relax you. They get rid of toxins. Bad is they do require regular maintenance, and they're, pay attention, with your health conditions, you may or may not need to be using them. So just pay attention to health conditions you may have. Another recovery technology is AI powered wearable recovery monitors, and they're $200 to $500, and there's a whole big list of them. But if you look at the AI wearable recovery monitors, they'll tell you how tired you are, what you need to do that day. I mean, they are very, very, very strong in those aspects. They tell you a lot of information, and so you have to pay attention, but they could be inaccurate at times too, and so you have to take that with a grain of salt. And the last thing here, we're going to look at the your percussive therapy devices. Precision therapy. I mean, you're looking at $200 to $500 for it, but it helps relieve your muscle tightness, improve flexibility, boost muscle recovery. I mean, it may be too intense for certain people, but those therapy devices can really make a difference. I mean, in the cost, it may be a little bit too much up front for some people, but all these things, you don't just go out and just buy everything. You try things and you look at it. Now, last thing is hydration optimization. You can, there's smart hydration rings, and they can, they constantly monitor your hydration levels, and they let you know in real time when you need water. But they do have a limited, battery life, so you have to pay attention for that, and you have to, make sure you're recalibrating them. It's kind of like my watch. I have to recalibrate it sometimes because I'll put the distance on a map, and then I'll go run it, and I will be 0.4 of a mile shorter on the watch distance versus what the map says. But those rings are $150 to $400. You've got AI integrated water dispensers, which are around $500 to $1,200, but they adjust the water temperature and mineral count based on your hydration needs. And so they're quite expensive, but it could be a lot of help as well. And then you got something I was looking at the other day and debated on buying one, is the wearable hydration patches, because I sweat at a ridiculous rate. And so these can definitely help, especially when it gets hot, to know when you need water. They're, $100 to $300. I mean, they track sweat levels, electrolyte loss, and they provide recommendations. The bad of it is they have a limited lifespan on some of them, so you have to pay attention. But, at the end of the day, all these things can make a difference and can help. It's just, what you want to do, what you've decided that is going to be best for, for your body. I mean, I'm going to try all these things and report back. I'm going to, do separate videos on them and talk about all the different things. I mean, that's what I'm going to do with all the things in the Peak Performance Podcast. I've just got to get to making the videos, but don't forget that there is a link that is in the podcast description that'll be to a sheet that's going to be to a site to where this information is going to be held, and you can go through it, look at it for yourself, and review and see what you may or may not need, because everything about the Peak Performance Podcast is practical application. So you got to figure out how you can utilize this best for you. But anyway, this has been the Peak Performance Podcast. My name's Brad Young. Thanks, and have a great day.